Welcome to 734 Games, and this is Game Time. And this is your host, Tom, and today we are going to play A Plague Tale Innocence. Now, before we get started with A Plague Tale Innocence, we are going to talk about, well, my nephew is getting cancer treatments, and his Gofundme is in the description. Anything you could give would be great, and any money you give to this channel will go to that. And with that being said, let's get started with A Plague Tale Innocence by Asobo Studio and Focus Home Interactive.
Shot! Does hunger always make you this accurate?
Huh.
But the feast isn't on your plate quite yet.
No! Go, Leon! Don't lose the scent! Leo, come here! It's the boar. But how? Leon couldn't have done that. Leo! Come here! Leo! Leo! I'm here! I'm coming! My dog. Who did this? Leon!
What devilry is this? We must go.
Now, with that out of the way, let me just tell you that Asobo Studios helped develop Record and Quantum Break, and they also solely developed Microsoft Flight Simulator that just came out recently. So this studio is not a new studio. They've been around for a while, and that's why you look at this game and you see a very professional product from this developer. Now, this developer is out of France, so you wouldn't, like, if you looked at the other games, you wouldn't be able to tell. But with this game, this game is a game they did on their own, and it's their property. It's not like Flight Simulator, which belongs to Microsoft. You can tell that this is a French developer. The presentation is very well done. They're out of Bordeaux, and they really did a good job trying to recreate their own countryside. And what you have here is definitely a labor of love. Now, the game itself is a stealth game. You have some action in the game, very little. I mean, the action's kind of low tier. It's not like a big action game. Don't expect moments where you're like blowing up bad guys or, hacking guys up like in Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade. It's not that type of game. It's mainly try to stick to stealth, but they have some action just to mix it up. But it's mainly a stealth game. The stealth elements kind of remind me of some of the Assassin's Creed games or Horizon Zero Dawn. And actually, this game kind of does have a little bit in common with Horizon Zero Dawn. The way you hide in the foliage, it's interesting. It's well done, and I like the backgrounds. To me, are just as vibrant as Horizon Zero Dawn. So that's one of those two things this game has in common with that. It's just the atmosphere. Although this is more of a realistic type of atmosphere, medieval, period atmosphere. As in Horizon Zero Dawn was definitely more of a sci-fi action, but the stealth is decent. Obviously, you think that Guard, just because he hears something, a rock hit a pan, he wouldn't think, oh man, let me look over here, let me see where the rock went. Because you can kind of, you can kind of judge when something like that is hit, where it's being hit from. You know that there's no one standing over next to the pan, so why would you go look at an empty pan? But the game is still pretty good. I'm still enjoying the stealth. And I like and I wouldn't call it cooperative elements because it's a single-player story, but you have the other character that you work with, and you have them do stuff. Kind of like, that's kind of like out of some of the Resident Evil 4. They had that kind of element with Leon S. Kennedy and the female that was with him in that game. It's been so long since I played that game. I played that on the original GameCube back in the day. But what you have here is a pretty good game. Realistic stealth kind of game. It has a little bit of horror elements, just a little bit, with the rats. But, I played the game a little bit further. But they try to keep it very realistic. and the presentation and the voice acting is top notch. And obviously the graphics, as you can tell, the graphics are top notch. A beautiful game. Now, I'm playing the version you're looking at of this game is the Microsoft version, basically on their store, out of the Microsoft store. I'm playing this through Games Pass. This game is free on Games Pass. If you have Games Pass, you can play the game in Games Pass PC. So the game, I mean, that's probably the best way to play the game, the best deal money-wise. Other than that, I think the game is like $45 on Steam. And if you have Games Pass and you want to buy the game, it's like 11 something, and you own the game. And I think you don't have to own game. You don't have to. If you drop your Games Pass, you still own the game. So if you buy it outright while you're a Games Pass member, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, it's a really good deal on Games Pass. I've been doing a lot of Games Pass stuff on here. I do a lot of Linux stuff. I do a lot of Windows, but I end up doing a lot of Games Pass stuff because it's such a great deal. And I mean, obviously, you can find other deals on the internet, for PC games. I mean, there's Humble Bundles, there's Fanatical.com, and all these other places you can get deals. And then there's stores like Kingwin, which are pretty good. But Games Pass is still a great deal, even compared with all of that. So that's the best place to get this game. The characters, the main character is Amacia. I think that's her name. That's how you pronounce her name. And she's likable. She's not your average video game character. She's not your super tough gamer character. Video game vixen character. So she's basically just a young woman who's trying to, take her brother through this plague-ridden country and survive. So I mean, they do a pretty good job keeping up the suspense. The developer, and it's I have to recommend this game, and I think you'll like it. Even if you have never played a stealth game, you'll probably like the game. I mean, the shortcoming, like I said, some of the AI could be a little bit smarter, but other than that, I think the game is pretty good, and I definitely think this is a good game, especially if you're getting it on Games Pass with all the other games on there. And that's pretty much it for this episode of Game Time. This is your host Tom signing off from 734 Games, where gaming is alive.
Be strong. Well done. There are people. Hold my hand.